morning.
Good morning.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yes.
Very exciting. Look at Dr. Mary and his festive leprechaun ensemble. Sorry, we're running just a second behind. I'm in my apron because I've already started baking. You can imagine this is a big day at the Del Val Mary household because, you know, everybody wants to be Irish on this day, but in our house, one of us actually is Irish. So we have to make a big day out of it. Yeah, hard to say. We thought, first, I want to say two things. One, I hope you enjoyed yesterday's rewatch of our conversation from November. Thanks for indulging us. It was nice to be in my jammies at 8:30. I'm not going to lie.
It did kind of did a purpose for you, actually.
Yes, it was lovely.
That.
And tomorrow is a pre-recorded conversation with Evelyn Lighty, an author that we were connected to through another guest of ours, Delane Shea, but Evelyn will be on tomorrow. So you'll see a pre-recorded conversation tomorrow, but then we'll be back live, easy peasy on Friday. So we're going to start today with a little montage.
I'm looking forward to seeing
I know,
this.
I'm very excited about this actually. Now that I have figured out how to do this, it is fun to show. So we're going to start with this because I think it's really lovely. And it'll give you a sense of Ireland.
What is me?
And me.
Us.
Have to show pictures of meat. Dr. Mary so rarely gets it.
That shepherd's pie was fantastic.
Your natural habitat. cue the...
Took a long time for you to get that picture.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, I gotta shut. Sorry. Pause that. To get out of that. Oh, there's so much technology to manage. All right, I think we're back where we need to be. So that was from our trip in May of 2018, the only time I've ever been to Ireland. Finally, after all these years of being together, I got to see Maz's dad at the cemetery. So, you know, see him however you want to describe that. And meet other family members. And Quinn and his then girlfriend joined us. And it was an incredible trip. And we were supposed to take my mom and her person Bob this summer. And of course that got canceled. So we'll go again because it was just glorious. Well, but it did feel like we needed to show some pictures from the motherland, so to speak. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, we managed to, we hired a car and drove 1,400 kilometers.
Yeah, we did a lot of driving on that trip.
One of my fantastic uncle was perplexed by, where have you been? So we went to Waterford for breakfast. And he just went, Jesus, that's miles away. It's like an hour and a half. It's
you know, when you live in America, you travel and you don't think anything of distance. But because it's so tiny there, 10 miles feels like a trek to them. So we really did confound the Mary and Rooney relatives, but it was delightful and I cannot wait to go back.
We are going back.
But one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and we have talked about it before, but sort of just specifically to today, is, you know, the Irish have a reputation, fairly or unfairly, of being fall down drunks. You find me a movie about Ireland that doesn't involve excessive, and I don't mean like, oh boy, I had too much last night. I mean, my lifestyle is to drink way too much. And so that is how stereotypes come to be. And it's certainly been a historical problem in Ireland, but P.S., it's a historical problem all around the globe. I guess probably except in super Muslim countries because they don't drink, and in Mormon communities because they don't drink either. But I asked Dr. Mary to do some looking today because you've talked about the prevalence of non-alcoholic beer there. So do you want to tell that story or do you want to tell your facts and figures?
We were going to Ireland and I'd been sober just over a year. I think I just picked up.
Yeah, it was May of 2018. So,
I was
14 months
14
sober.
months. And I was worried because a lot of Irish culture is in the bar, you know, and even going grocery shopping. They have a lot of, the island still has local butchers and greengrocers. And on these little lines and these terraced houses. And of course, you go from the greengrocers, you go through a door, you're in the butchers, you go through a next door, you're in the pub.
Oh.
And then you're in the bedding shop. And sometimes, you know, the next one in line could actually be a doctor's surgery, depending on how small the town is. I'm not, you know, so I said, what are we going to do? And I wanted to take Dana into a bar. So, you know, Dana said,
let's call it a pub. That's much more charming.
So Dana said to me, look, you know, it's going to be fine. We'll be fine. I thought, yeah, you know, we will be.
I would also like to point out, you always make me like, don't be an idiot. It'll be fine.
No, I didn't mean that. So
all I meant was, if we don't go into pubs, it'll be fine. You're a terrible storyteller.
I know, apparently so. Apparently I'm telling this wrong.
Yes.
So first bar we got to, I asked if they had any non-alcoholic, you know, beer or anything. And I had my first non-alcoholic Guinness. I had absolutely no alcohol in it.
I had my first Guinness.
With the real one.
And last, probably.
But I actually asked, you know, have you got any non-alcoholic beer? And he said, which one do you want? And there must have been about 40 different types. So Ireland has really gone into
They've embraced this new culture.
Non-alcoholic beer. So I did some looking up. So as of 2019, 23% of the population of Ireland does not consume alcohol.
So that's about 4 million people.
Oh,
I'll look. You keep
yeah,
talking.
I don't actually know that. So there are also less people in Ireland in treatment centres for alcohol abuse than ever before.
Sorry, I'm a grammar person. Fewer people.
And that 23% in 2019 compared to 2016, where it was 18.7% of Irish people don't drink alcohol.
4.9 million in 2019.
So there was historically 1 in 4 deaths in Ireland were alcohol related up until about 20 years ago.
Wow.
So 50% of all reported drinkers in Ireland as of 2019 are in the age bracket 35 to 49. There is a massive reduction in consumption of alcohol in people 15 and up.
So I'm gonna he said that to me earlier today, and I thought it was really hard to understand. Far, far fewer people are drinking.
Yeah.
Is that it's a weird way to say it.
It's the way it was in the report.
Yeah, I'm not doubting you. It just sounds funny.
To put it into perspective, I did some more digging, and there was a European Union report that I found. So again, from 2019, the consumption of alcohol in the Republic of Ireland is lower than Luxembourg, Austria, France, the Czech Republic, Lithuania, Russia, and the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom is actually currently experiencing a huge increase in the consumption of alcohol from people 15 years of age and upwards.
I will be really curious to see how Ireland fared through COVID.
And I found this as of 2019. Alcohol Anonymous first had its first recognized meeting in Dublin in 1940. As of 2019, there are now 864 recognized AA meeting groups in the Republic of Ireland. That's up 22% since the year 2000.
Yeah, I think what I found most delightful as a spouse of someone who has committed to not drinking was not only how much access there was to non-alcoholic beer, and how it just was everywhere we went, but how nobody batted an eye. There was no bartender did that sort of like we experienced in Hawaii. No bartender asked him if he was sure he wanted it. They didn't question it at all. I would get something to drink. He would get that. We would get it. We would pay the bill and we would move on.
And we were in this bar we went to quite a few times when we were in the west of Ireland. And the guy that owned the bar did at the pub, who gave us some fantastic advice. He said, "You're not doing a ring of Kerry?" And we said, "Yes." And he said, "Forget the map." And he pulled out another map and he goes, "You want to go this way? We want to do this." And we did, and it was beautiful. And we went back the next night and told him what we did, and it was fantastic. And one of his sons was working the bar behind him. So I asked for a non-alcoholic beer the first night I was there, and he actually said to me, you like this stuff?" I said, "Yeah, I don't drink. It's very nice." And he just went to me and went, "Good on you."
Yeah.
Which from an Irish person is high praise.
You know, when you think about Ireland, I think you think about the tremendous green, the rain, the thatched roof, red doored houses, and then you think about pubs, because that's what we're told to believe and are told to think about, and it is a huge part of the culture. And I was so grateful that we got to so easily enjoy it. You know, when the four of us were together and went out, it didn't make any difference. It really made for a whole experience of Ireland, because that is so much part of the culture. And they've just done an excellent job all over the country of normalizing it.
My dad was a pioneer. So the pioneer,
which means he never drank.
The pioneer was it's a group, the Irish Church, the Catholic Church in Ireland set up for people who didn't drink. So the emblem, it's a heart emblem that has the Sacred Heart of Jesus in the middle of it, and you take that pledge not to drink alcohol. So my dad became a pioneer when he was 15. He never drank alcohol. He did tell me he actually joined because that's the only way, because in Ireland, Gaelic football at the time, this is in the 50s in Ireland, was big and soccer wasn't. So he joined that primarily for two reasons. One, because he didn't want to drink, and two, because it was the only way he could play soccer.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
I
that.
love this story he used to tell me because the local priest was the soccer coach. So my dad would always go to confession on a Friday and be in there for ages with the priest who was on about. And he'd come out and he'd tell me the story. All these old women would look at him and he was in there for like 30 minutes. And he said, I always thought they looked at me and said, geez, that Terry Mary, he's a wrong one. I love that story.
But you have to say what they were doing in there.
They were football strategy. They were talking about who to beat on Saturday. You know?
Yes. Yeah, it is a great story. If you understand, he wasn't in there because he was naughty. He was in there because he was strategizing.
So they had this that they called the pioneers, but the actual number of AA groups and AA members in Ireland now surpasses that.
It's amazing.
So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
It's really great. So on this day, enjoy the festivities and be okay with not drinking. We're having a couple over tonight, and I ordered a 3-pack of Seedlip, which is a non-alcoholic spirit. And we're only having non-alcoholic drinks tonight, just because we can, and because it's fun, and because there's no reason to ruin a perfectly nice day.
And it's Wednesday.
With a hangover. Yes, it's Wednesday. So have an excellent day.
Have a fantastic
in tomorrow.
day.
You know, you won't get a notification that we're going live, but you can tune in at 8:30 and Evelyn's conversation with us will go up, and then we'll be back on Friday. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.